My name is Madhu. At 29, I am a woman who has always understood the power of a first impression. Growing up, I was often told that my presence was enough to light up a room. For a long time, I let that define me. I allowed the world to look at me and see only a reflection of what they wanted, rather than who I truly was. This is the story of how I almost lost myself to a life of pretension and how one night changed everything. Chapter 1: The Weight of Expectations. The story begins in my college days. I was known as the model of the college. I wore the trendiest clothes and walked with an air of confidence that I hadn't truly earned yet. I fed on the attention, the whispers in the hallways, and the stares in the street. I thought that being the center of attention was the same thing as being powerful. Back then, I struggled with my studies, especially mathematics. My teacher was a stern man who noticed my lack of focus. Instead of helping me find my path, he often made me feel small, reminding me that beauty without brains is a hollow shell. It hurt, but instead of proving him wrong with books, I tried to prove him wrong with my status. There was a boy named Santosh. We had a quiet, unspoken bond. We would exchange smiles across the library, and eventually we started talking. He was the first person who seemed to care about what I thought, not just how I looked. Our friendship slowly blossomed into something deeper, but we kept it hidden, fearing the judgment of our peers. Chapter 2: The Night of the Wedding. A year into our secret courtship, a major event happened in our neighborhood, a grand wedding. My parents were supposed to attend, but my father fell ill. My mother insisted I go alone to represent the family. I arrived at the venue wearing a simple pair of jeans and a top, but my friends, girls who were obsessed with status, immediately took me to the bridal suite. Madhu, you can't look like a commoner at the biggest wedding of the year, they exclaimed. They forced me into a high-fashion, designer miniskirt and top. It was far more daring than anything I had ever worn, and I felt exposed, but I didn't want to seem uncool. As I walked through the party, I felt like a trophy on display. Men looked at me with greed, and women looked with envy. I felt a deep sense of unease, a realization that the power I thought I had was actually making me a target. Chapter 3: The Shadow in the Corridor. Santosh had messaged me, asking to meet behind the main hall. He wanted to tell me something important. I slipped away from the loud music and the prying eyes, heading toward a quiet, dimly lit corridor. I felt a hand on my shoulder. Santosh? I whispered, turning around. But it wasn't Santosh. It was a man I recognized, a business associate of my father's, whom I had always addressed as Uncle. His eyes were cold. He had seen me sneaking away and had seen me with Santosh earlier. "Is this how you represent your father, Madhu?" he asked, his voice dripping with judgment. "Hiding in the dark with boys while wearing that?" He began to lecture me, but it quickly turned into a threat. He knew my father was a man of strict reputation. He told me that if I didn't listen to him, if I didn't help him secure a business favor for my father, he would tell everyone he saw me in a compromising position. Chapter 4: The Honeymoon Suite. He led me toward a section of the mansion that was cordoned off. It was the honeymoon suite, decorated lavishly with jasmine and roses for the couple who would wed that night. The beauty of the room felt like a cage. "Sit," he commanded. He spent an hour telling me how girls like me were destined for trouble and how I owed him for his silence. I felt small, trapped by my own clothes and the reputation I had spent years building. I realized that by seeking everyone's attention, I had given them the power to destroy me. Just as the situation felt its most suffocating, his phone rang. It was the groom's family. The ceremony was ending, and the couple was coming to the room. He panicked. The fear of being caught in a room with a young woman, despite his noble intentions of lecturing me, was greater than his greed. "Get out," he hissed. "And remember, I am watching you." Chapter 5: The Awakening. I ran from that room, my heels clicking against the marble floor. I didn't go back to the party. I walked straight out of the gate and into the cool night air. I met Santosh near the exit. He saw my face and immediately knew something was wrong. I told him everything, not just about the uncle, but about my fear, my vanity, and the hollow life I was leading. "Madhu," he said softly, "you don't have to be who they want you to be. You are more than a figure in a mirror." That night, I went home and changed back into my own clothes. I realized that my attractiveness had been a shield I used to hide my insecurities. I decided to stop being a model for others and start being a person for myself. Epilogue: A New Path. Today, I am married to Santosh. He is a wonderful father to our 13-year-old son. I worked hard, finished my education, and now I lead a life based on respect and intelligence, not just appearance. I still walk into a room and command attention, but now it's because of my voice and my mind. I learned that true light doesn't come from being fair or having a perfect figure. It comes from the strength to say no to the wrong people and yes to your own truth.